First of all, I just want to start out by saying I'm shook. I'm shook. They even kept the menu music. I'm sitting in my bed like, oh, no you didn't. I can't lie to y'all, like after months of waiting, finally getting to see what you played through come alive, it hits different than anything else. Usually I don't see the original work first, so this is weird for me. But anyway, I'm gonna jump right off into it. Gonna give some quick thoughts and some of the differences they made between the game and the show. So immediately when the show starts, they're already skipping stuff. First, you have Mash's dream where she has this deep conversation with Roman, and then come to find out that it's actually Goetia, and she knew that, but we never get to see that in the anime. And also, it begs the question when Mash comes out of her dream to ask the real Roman, what is the purpose of life? But she never gets to ask this in the anime, and they kind of just shoot off into the singularity. I really enjoyed this scene myself, and I wish they were able to put it in. I feel like we need to be having those types of conversations, but at the same time, I know how long that could have possibly dragged out. And Fate, we all know Fate has this extensive history of doing a lot of talking and not enough showing, so in order to capture the audience, they probably thought it would be better if they left most of that stuff out. And it wasn't all bad, because instead they gave us a scene that's been talked about in Fate history for a long time, but we never got it animated. They gave us the Gil and Enkidu death scene, which was very impactful in its stead, and I feel like it kind of reels you in instead of pushing you away, because as you know, and as he's been portrayed, Gil is known to be a fucking asshole. So for somebody, especially people who don't like Gil, to see him in that state and being vulnerable and feeling sorrow for someone other than himself, it's really intriguing, because we never really got that in either Fate Zero or Fate Stay Night. So this is a completely different side of the spectrum for him. Then you have it go over to the scene where he's walking up to the roof, and it does this really good pan out of him, and it kind of goes into another thing that I really wanted to talk about, the CGI. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. I would much rather them do something different than stay in the safe zone and end up being generic just like everybody else. So for right now, the CGI is 50-50. Some of it looks jank, some of it looks really good. Especially, you have scenes like the one where Ishtar came in and she was doing all the flips, and by the way, those ass shots were amazing. Those ass shots were marvelous. Cloverworks, you are doing God's work. I give that ass 10 grails out of 10. Aside from that, another thing that they skipped was the scarf. Now, this might not seem like a big deal to a person if they're just watching, but if you've seen the game, scarf is a big deal, especially when they've talked about how the mana density of the area that they're going to is a lot denser than the modern era. So it could potentially kill the average man, but for you, it might cause headaches, hard breathing, things of that nature, and that's why the scarf is there. But Da Vinci never gets the time to say any of this because, they're trying to make time for everything else. And speaking of skip scenes, here's another big one. They skipped the introduction to the Three Goddess Alliance. This really isn't problematic. I think they're doing it to add shock value to when Ritsuka actually runs into these members. But I really like the fact that that scene was there. I like to know what's going on the other side. Some of the best shows, some of my favorite shows, let you delve into the mind of the antagonist. This gives a false interpretation of how the story really begins, because a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, it starts off super casual. It doesn't start off like that. When they shoot off into the singularity, this starts off with a man literally being eaten alive. That the goddess of demonic beasts has literally been using the remains of humans to build her temple. And it's not on some edgy shit, it's just to give context. And the reason why I like the reserve just going hard is because they might have just rearranged it. We may just be getting it later on down the road, but it's gonna really suck if they just cut that out. Another thing that didn't happen was that we lost connection to Roman. Now, during these singularities, Roman serves as comedic relief a lot of the times. And I noticed that not only was he cut off for the entire time that they met Ishtar until after she left, but he doesn't really intervene like he does in the story. And when he intervenes, it's honestly hilarious, and I really like when he does that. But it seems like they're kind of going away from that and giving the spotlight to Ritsuka and Mash. The fall scenes were perfect, both of them. When they fell out the sky, it was hilarious, and when she used her noble phantasm and changed forms, it was great. And even when Ishtar came crashing into Ritsuka, again, spot on. And another thing that I noticed when they were having a conversation, and it didn't dawn on me until then, Ritsuka always has a logical answer to the situation, and then he has like a snide, witty remark for the person that he's talking to. And I'm just now realizing that we're not gonna get those witty remarks, and I really like when he goes at a person's neck and Mash has to come behind and try to clean it up. Hey man, what the fuck is you saying, dog? You gonna get us killed. Like, even when she crash landed into him and he was like, hey, I'm your cushion, his other response was, I'll see you in court. It's just, I don't know, man. It's funny to me. One thing that I did find weird when Mash did her crash landing, which is still better than riding with Arash, Ritsuka just laid there and stared at her for a couple of seconds, like, I'm just lay here and not say anything, and then just get up and continue to not say anything. I was like, oh, okay. I thought he was just gonna do like the regular trope when, you know, they get embarrassed. He didn't even do that. The man just stared at her and got up. I was like, all right. It's like, what the fuck? That was so weird. But yeah, Ishtar looked really good. Her fight scenes looked really good. And even with her and some of her dialogue, when she's like, you know, I'll tear off your limbs, even though she's joking, she's like, I'll tear off your limbs and scatter it all over the mountain. Things like that, again, bring out the intensity, and they kind of just shimmy right along past it like they're trying to keep everything lighthearted as of right now. The fights look really good. Ishtar bouncing around in the air doing all of her attacks, and Kidu showing up and popping the Iridemu like balloons, especially the part with the chains. I really like the directing for that part. It's something that's kind of out of ordinary for anime, and he swings the chains at the protagonist, but it goes around them and it hits the other Iridemu that was behind him. I thought that was pretty clever. And like a lot of other dialogue, you know, we skipped some of the dialogue with Enkidu when he was talking about Ishtar and her lore and how she's the goddess of war. But how can you be the goddess of war and claim that you love humans? Isn't that a contradiction? Last but not least, we're going to go into Anna and the Penis Wizards. Of course, that's going to be a grand time next episode. Overall thoughts? Great. It was great. It was great. I was not let down. Of course, I wish everything was there, but I would. And I thought the show was going to be 25 episodes, but I just saw that it's actually 21 episodes, which is kind of concerning to say the least. If it's only 21 episodes and they're already skipping stuff, skipping the little things at that, it just makes you wonder what they're going to skip out on later when they really need the time and have to show the bigger content. Other than that, it was a great watch. Can't wait till the next episode. I'm gonna be with you guys next week on it. Let me know what you guys think. Did you enjoy it, or were you disappointed in the way that things turned out? It's your boy Saya. I'm out.